about that they are maybe working on the Last of Us remake?
Yeah, that's why.
I might be down for that low-key, because the gameplay in Last of Us 2 was fun.
I low-key said I am down.
I think they want the remake to coincide with the HBO series, and that they might change the actor of Joel, like they really were, like the rumors were back then. So they might make Joel black in the remake. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying they might.
Well, he's not black in the show. Hold on, he's not black in the show though.
Yeah, they got
No, he's not.
No, I think they might just, if they do remake it, it's going to be on the Last of Us 2 engine, and it's going to be up there that coincide with the show maybe or something like that, or to launch Factions 2 with it or something like that.
I would rather have them made the Last of Us 3 than go on the remake.
Well, yeah, of course, I get all of that, but I see why people are kind of getting tired of this remake, remaster shit. It's getting a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, you sound like
I said the remakes are fine, but the remaster.
Yeah, I'm playing some fun. I mean, we're never remake that shit.
Yeah, the remakes are fine, the remaster.
There are certain games that can justify it.
Bro, I mean, I want Justice to explain what he means by out of hand.
Okay, well, when you introduce a remake or a rematch, well, remake's a little bit different. Like Resi 2, Final Fantasy 7, those are on a different whole stratosphere. But like when you introduce like a remaster or something like that, look at the way like Blizzard are handling their remasters, like Diablo 2. Well, yeah, that's great that we have Diablo.
So what do you mean by
that people are
upset coming on the Sony camp? So what do you mean?
I just think people have been seeing a lot of mixed information about Sony mishandling like this Last of Us remake, how they're putting the studio on, pulling them off, canceling this, and there's a lot of confusion, maybe a little bit too much panic. It might be getting a little out of hand, but at the same time, like if we're gonna complain about old games on Game Pass and the emphasis there, I think people are getting a little bit worn out with this, bringing old games back.
Remake and old game is not the same thing.
Yeah, but
It depends on the style of remake.
It depends on the style,
It
yeah.
depends on what they
this
do
is
with the
what people
remake.
just the general style. The general style of remake is
Demon's Souls was a good remake, but if you played the game to death, I mean, goddamn, it's still the same fucking game.
Well, see, people are worried that Sony is cutting off everything that's old. Like you go on Twitter every day, a different game from like the 90s is trending. Like people constantly putting up stuff about what's your favorite game from 1997, and people are nonstop calling out for remakes of these classic old games. And I think what people are worried about is if Sony is remaking The Last of Us Part 1, and they closed Japan Studio, and they're
Japan Studio. What's that?
What is Japan Studio? Like their last big IP. The last Guardian?
Was that it?
Yeah, that was their appeal.
Come on, man. All the Capra.
Hold on. The Japan Studio last game was The Last Guardian?
Come on, man.
Yeah, it was diversity. That was the whole appeal.
No, you gotta understand. Hold on, you gotta understand. A lot of people be complaining about shit they really don't even care about.
That's what I'm saying.
You got Blandrew. Shout out to Blandrew. He a Nintendo cocksucker. He fucking complaining about Days Gone not getting a sequel. Like, dog, you didn't even play the game. Like, you don't even know if it deserves a sequel or not. You know what I'm saying? At least you can play the game and say if it deserves it.
MLB, like, yo, these people aren't buying these games. They are surprised when they don't get sequels. They don't get any love.
Exactly. This is not a charity, man. This is not a fucking charity out here, man.
We don't want that shit. We want Last of Us. We want more God of War. Fuck all the motherfuckers.
If Japan Studio was making games that made money, you'd be surprised. Like,
Let me look at what Japan Studio. What's still there?
Japan Studio is not closed.
One at a time. People don't want these smaller teams that are making other genres or new ideas and new IPs to be removed, and people feel like Sony is just cutting off and forgetting about the franchises of the PS3 or earlier, especially with the PS3 store closure.
Hold on, but nobody forgot about the more than the consumers. They didn't buy the game.
No,
like, you can't blame them.
over. Like the architecture they used for the PS3, the PS2, going back, like they hella fucked themselves over. Like Microsoft can do the backwards compatibility because the Xbox architectures are more similar to a PC.
That's
But
not
the
true.
PS3 is a challenge, man. They can't. Like they gotta
That's
develop
not
that.
true. Xbox can do more than back of that stuff because they're doing emulation and not hardware. And so they can do a lot of stuff in
No,
software.
I agree with you, Coop. What I'm saying is the PS3 is harder to.
All right, hold on. Let's get some facts out here. Japan Studio last game was not Last Guardian.
It was Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, they did. They did Knack. They did Knack 2. They did, No Heroes Allowed. They did Shadow of the Colossus. They did. Of course, y'all know they did Demon Souls, and they did the Playroom VR, Astro's Playroom. They did Bloodborne. Y'all already know. So I don't know what happened. What happened to the
They helped
studio?
with Bloodborne.
They helped.
Yeah, they didn't develop Bloodborne.
Oh, well, that's
And what was happening with Ben Studio is that they their pitch from everything that I
that's some
read.
background noise. Somebody got some background noise in here, man. Somebody got. If you got it playing in the background, please turn it off.
It can't be beat.
I mean,
I'm just saying. Hey, yo, check these
Yeah, it
studios. If y'all got the platinum in that too, but you're crying about Japan Studios, like you need to fall all the way back. Like if you weren't playing Astro's Playroom or any of these games, you're just running your mouth just for the sake of doing it. Like,
no, I played those games, but it's just that people are worried that they're cutting off all these great games that they remember and are nostalgic over, and that they're remaking a game that a lot of people don't feel like is necessary.
What do you mean cutting off? Those games they're still part of gaming history, so that nostalgia is still there. What do you mean?
I mean, as far as keeping them alive, doing remakes for them, and people think that with their new direction, they only are caring about these big AAA money makers.
Hold on. So you're saying you think?
Yeah, but this is a remake, though, not something new.
You're saying that people had hoped, even though it was never announced, people had hoped that Sony would remake some of these games of lore, and now with this information from Jason's article, those hopes have been dashed, and now people are upset that they won't get the remake that was never announced.
It's going towards that. People think that's the direction that they're moving, that they're not concerned with anything that's before like 2013 because of the PS3 store closure and remaking a game like The Last of Us, and they're worried that they just don't care about
what evidence is there of this? I understand what you're saying people are worried about. I'm further assuming that you are one of those people, but what is making this?
I mean, it's moving in that direction. They had Ben Studios work on the Uncharted 5.
What old game was going to be remade prior to 2013 that now is not going to happen?
I mean, we don't know exactly, but people had hopes that Sony would, and now this is moving away from that. And Ben Studios they have them working on it.
No, that doesn't logically follow. If they won't remake a smaller game from before 2013, that does not mean that they won't reboot it as a AAA title.
I mean, you never know what the I'm saying. Sony's latest actions, they're moving.
It has to be popular, dude, in order to
for them to want to make it. First of all, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't know how y'all feel, but new games for my new. Hold on. Don't cut me off. Growing up.
Wait, that didn't sound right.
Yeah, man. What game are you looking for? That's
Right. Hold on, real quick, y'all. Because it has already never been that. Like you're addressing a problem that don't exist. When the PS4 came out, there was a danger that they wouldn't. Whatever you're saying, like there was no promise of these remakes. Now that the PS5, there was no promise of these remakes. So
Are you worried about game preservation?
I mean, yeah, that's a part of it, and just
a remake.
Sony is doing. I just don't want to see what the worry is that they're going to put their resources, because they can only do so much at a time, and resources into remaking stuff that is recent and no one really wants or needs a remake, as opposed to bringing a new coat of paint and like bringing new life into something that's way older, like Final Fantasy.
Going to be bothered.
Hold on.
Yeah.
They are not only
Like, this is a basic concept.
thing is ridiculous. They have a ton of new IPs. They have sequels coming for their established bangers. And yeah, they may do some remakes, specifically The Last of Us, to coincide with a TV series. How does that mean, okay, they're not gonna, they're like, we're gonna, how? How are you making this connection? I don't.
Because like for Days Gone, no Days Gone sequel in favor of.
It's not a no, man. Quit saying that. They rejected the pitch for the Days Gone sequel. I can tell you that they have rejected a Days Gone sequel.
They put them on a different game. It said clearly they're working on a different game right now.
They're working on the new IP.
And that does not.
So what did you want? What did you want? You want the new IP or you want the sequel? What do you want?
I want the sequel to Days Gone because, like, why start over with a new IP? Like, Days Gone 2 would have been successful.
Not every game is gone.
How do you know it's going to be successful?
How do you know Days Gone was going to be successful though?
How are they going to? How is a new IP from Bend Studios? Like, what about this new IP?
Days Gone was a. Well, we're gonna have to find out, nigga, when we play it. Like, we don't. You know,
Days Gone was a new IP.
Horizon Zero Dawn was the new IP. Yeah, that was.
Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon to be.
You can't just assume that they
the million zombie game is not going to play.
You can't assume that
You can assume that GTA 6 is going to be good.
Jeremy, are you serious? Jeremy, are you serious right now? Rockstar has done it. Rockstar has already proven themselves. Hold on, Rockstar last game was not Days Gone. You see what I'm saying?
And so, but you have this path of experience in a platform. And Days Gone.
Listen, your last game is a 98 on Metacritic, and I will assume that your next game is going to be good. I can give you that benefit of the doubt.
They have a platform to work with Days Gone. It's rough. But if they make another game, what if that game is the same thing?
Hold on.
They declined that proposal for the Days Gone. Why? Because you had.
The biggest problem is that Sony is getting arrogant and they're acting like Nintendo. They're not going to trust Sony said it was because it didn't sell enough and because the reviews weren't high enough. The problem with that is how it is.
Not comment, so again, I trust Jason reporting, so that's not. I'm not disputing.
Like I said, nigga, Sony ain't safe, so it ain't about them.
Because they only want these top dollar, small handful of games, so they put Bend Studios on Uncharted 5.
Hey, let me ask you this. The Order 1886 didn't get greenlit for a sequel. How is that any different? Were they arrogant then? What was the reason behind that? What was about that? And how does that compare to this? Why is that any different?
They shut down that car studio.
What was that?
They got shut down the car racing.